Hello everyone, welcome to Free Life Science class. Today we are going to discuss an important topic regarding the cell cycle regulation. So you know that what is the importance of this topic. This is very important that we repeatedly see the question of cell cycle regulation in the CSI UGC NET exams. So today we are going to sum up all the points regarding the cell cycle regulation in this particular video, and we will discuss some questions on the based on the previous year question paper. Okay, let's move into the topic. So everyone knows this point, that is each cell passes through a series of defined stages constitutes the cell cycle. Okay, and the cell cycle have two major phases. Which are they? They are M phase and interphase. And what about M phase? M phase means mitosis and cytokinesis. So if you look on gametes, there you can see meiosis also, but here we are only looking, or we are concentrating as a general, so that we can say M phase have two different parts, or two different phases, that is mitosis and cytokinesis. What about interphase? Interphase again is classified into three phases, that is G1, S, G2, and you can also see another stage where the cell is in rest condition, that is G0 or quiescent phase. Okay, let's move into the beautiful diagram so that you can understand each of the phases. So in gap phase, gap 1, that is G1 phase, what are the peculiar characters every cell shows? The first thing is cells are growing here. Growing in the sense means they are not increasing in number, but they are increasing by their content. That means every metabolism is normal, but the content inside a cell, like organelle, duplicates, everything inside the cell begin to double. Okay, next moving to the S phase. After growing, it will enter into the S phase. Here the DNA replication, chromosomal duplication, everything happens, hence it got the name S phase. That means synthesis phase, where the DNA replication or DNA synthesis is taking place. Next, about the G2 phase. What about the G2 phase? Here also you can see the cell grows and prepare the cells for mitosis. Then after the G2 phase, it will enter into the M phase, where the cell going to be divided into two daughter cells. M phase is again classified into prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, and cytokinesis. So these are the phase, means where the DNA replication is taking place. So this point we will discuss in each and every sentences, or every students know this point. But along with the DNA replication, S phase cells, the cells which is present in S phase, also synthesize some histone proteins. Okay, so the cells that are in S phase synthesize the histone protein, which is needed when the cell get doubles. Histone proteins is also needed because the DNA content is doubled. So wrapping the DNA content, we need additional histone proteins. So the additional histone proteins are synthesized in the S phase. So please keep in mind and remember this point. Okay, this is very important. So every student know the first point, but some of the student doesn't know additional histone proteins are made in S phase. Some students will mistakenly write this will happen in G2 phase. Okay, so please remember in mind that this histone proteins are synthesized in S phase itself. Okay. Okay, what is the need of control? Our cell is going to be divided into two. That means exact copies of the cell is going to be happen, so that the daughter cell should be the exact copies of the parent cell, and there should not be any mistakes. So any mistakes or any errors, if it happened, then we will not get the actual parent cell contents. Okay, so the gene will be abnormal. For avoiding or preventing such mistakes, we need control units in the cell cycle. Hence we called it as a cell cycle regulatory proteins. Okay, so there are certain proteins which help in the cell cycle regulation. And also some genes and proteins which help in the cell cycle regulation, or which help as a, or which act as a checkpoint. Whether if you are okay, then you go to the next phase. If you are not okay, then you will not get into the next phase. Like that, there are several proteins which help in the cell cycle regulation. One among them is maturation promoting factor. This is very important one. So who control the checkpoints? There are certain genes and proteins which help in the control of cell cycle, and one among the major enzyme is maturation promoting factor, otherwise known as MPF. It consists of two subunits, one which with a kinase activity which transfers this. You know that what is the property of a kinase enzyme? They transfer phosphate groups from ATP to a specific serine threonine residue. Okay, like same like that, here also the MPF have a great role in the mitosis. So it is seen in the phase of M phase, this maturation promoting factor. You can see this enzyme in M phase where it helps to complete the mitosis. So wherever the mitosis is taking place, the MPF is present, and the MPF consists of two subunit, one which have a kinase activity which transfer phosphate group from ATP to the serine threonine residue of the particular protein substrate, as well as it consists of another subunit called a regulatory unit which is known as cyclins. So cyclins is also required during each phase of the cell cycle. So wherever you, in this beautiful diagram, you can see that when mitosis is taking place, okay, high levels of MPF activity, as well as cyclins are also present at high concentration. At the same time, if during the interphase there is no activity of MPF. Okay, next point is there is another protein. So we have completed about maturation promoting factor, and the next one is MPF like enzymes or cyclin dependent kinases. This cyclin dependent kinases have a property of phosphorylation. Okay, so each phosphorylation event occurs at an appropriate point during the cell cycle, thereby stimulating or inhibit a particular cellular process involved in the cell division. So they can stimulate or otherwise inhibit the cellular processes in the cell division by phosphorylation. So CDK dependent kinases have phosphorylating activity, which will phosphorylate the protein substrate or any compound or any proteins which have a stimulatory or inhibitory effect on cellular process. Okay, let's move into the next slide. So this is an experiment which have done in the fission yeast. So Pulse Nursing at Oxford University, he, when doing the experiment, found that in fission yeast there is something or some protein, or we can say like this, protein kinases, CDK like kinases are there in the fission yeast which help in passing the cell cycle. So he found it like this. There is a gene that when mutated would cause the growth of cell at elevated temperature to stop at certain points in the cell cycle, and they called it as CDC2. So found that there is a protein known as CDC2, it's also known as CDK1 in general. So this enzyme, when mutated, what happens? The cell cycle stops. So the cell cycle is controlled primarily at 2 points, and the first point is known as start, and the second point is seen in the G2M transition, and you can see one more transition phase or third transition phase which you can see in the late mitotic stages. So at the start point, or you can see it in the late G1 phase, here you can see the CDC2 kinase will bind with certain cyclins. You can call them as G1 or S cyclins, and will help to move forward the cell to the next phase. Likewise, when you see to the G2M transition, where you can see another mitotic cyclins, another cyclins called as mitotic cyclins, which will combine with CDC2 kinase. So in fission yeast, there is only one type of CDK, that is CDC2. So there is one more experiment which is conducted after finding the CDKs in human. That is, in humans there are variety of CDKs, but in case of fission yeast there is only one which is enough to carry out all the functions. But in the case of humans there are variety of CDKs which are present in each phase of cell cycle, and if you remove any of the CDKs during the cell cycle, which will result in abnormal cell, or the cell undergo to a quiescent state, it will does not move to the M phase. So from such an experiment, they understand that there is different CDKs required in different phase of a cell. But exception is when you put CDK1, for cell cycle to happen, definitely cell cycle progress. And from that point, you can understand that CDK1 is sufficient for doing all the activities of other CDKs, but the rate of division or rate of cell cycle is very, very, very low. Okay, so this is a slow process. It takes more time than the normal timings. Okay. So once the cell has passed the start point, it irreversibly committed to the DNA replication. Okay. So actually what happens means, when any cell which passes the transition phase, it cannot move back to the same state. If it is passed to the S phase, it means that it is committed for the DNA replication. So DNA replication will take place inside those cells which have passed from the start point. Okay, likewise the step 2, you can see at the G2M transition, where also you can see the same process. When the cell is passed through this transition phase, then the cell is committed to divide. Okay, so this is about the experiment which have done in the fission age. So please keep in mind these points. CDC2, there is only one CD case in the fission age and it is named as CDC2. In general, it is called as CDK1. Okay, let's move into next slide. So like G1 checkpoint, G2 checkpoint also need CDC2 along with the mitotic cyclins. We have already discussed this, which allows cells to commit mitosis. And there is a third checkpoint which is seen in the later stage of mitosis, decides whether the cell cycle completes or not. So we can relate the CDKs as engine of the vehicles, and it requires brakes and accelerator for control. Okay, so this is one of the important point. So if you consider the CDK as a core of the cell cycle, then it need some accessory proteins also, or regulatory proteins also, to control the cell cycle. It alone cannot control the cell cycle. So some of the processes which are taking place inside the cell to help the CDKs are cyclin binding, cyclin phosphorylation and dephosphorylation, CDK inhibitors, then controlled proteolysis and subcellular localization. Subcellular localization means some of the proteins are seen in cytoplasm only, some are in nucleus. So we have to keep some protein in cytoplasm only. If it is present in nucleus, then cell cycle control will not take place, or likewise vice versa. So subcellular localization is also important during the cell cycle control. So let's discuss each of the point. About cyclin binding. So when a cyclin reaches a sufficient concentration in the cell, it binds to the catalytic subunit of a CDK, causing a major change in the conformation of the enzyme's active site. So a first step is the cyclin binding to the CDK for CDK activation. So here you can see that in the inactive condition, the CDK have a loop inside the active site. So you have to remove this loop from the active site, then only the CDK get active. So when cyclin comes and binds with the CDK, the loop position is changed. Okay. Then another protein kinase, that is CDK activating kinase, will come and phosphorylate a threonine residue. Okay, threonine residue in the loop, and the CDK get activated. But there is some more processes which are taking place inside the activation of CDK. We will discuss it later. Okay, so just keep in mind that CDK is in inactive state and a loop is present in the loop, means amino acid sequence. Amino acid sequence is present in the active site, and this active site is needed for the cyclin binding. So when cyclin binds with the CDKs, this loop position is changed by the enzyme CDK activating kinase, which help in phosphorylating a threonine residue inside the loop. Okay. Yes, in this beautiful diagram you can see each and every point in the CDK activation. So what happens during the phosphorylation and dephosphorylation steps? So CDK is actually activated by 3 regulatory enzymes, 2 kinase enzyme and 1 phosphatase enzyme. So in this diagram, please look into the diagram. So here you can see CDC kinase, or you just make it as CDKs. Okay. This diagram is taken from the Cell and Molecular Biology text by Karp. Beautiful diagram. Here it shows that during the interphase, the the CDK activating kinase CAK and V1, which is present, and these, with the help of these 2 regulatory enzymes, the cyclin binds to the inactive form of the CDK. So this CAK phosphorylate threonine residue, but the V1 phosphorylase tyrosine residue. Phosphorylating the tyrosine residue keep the CDK inactive. Okay. Phosphorylating the tyrosine residue in the CDC2 kinase, we have already seen the loop structure. In loop, there is also another tyrosine residue at the 15th position. If the 15th tyrosine residue is phosphorylated by the V1, then what happens? The CDK is still inactive. It will not get activated. So after the completion of G2 phase, another regulatory enzyme, a phosphatase enzyme, remove this phosphate group from the tyrosine residue, so that now this CDK become activated. So how the CDK is activated? CDK is activated in 2 steps. In the first step, the CDK activating kinase as well as V1 phosphorylate 2 residues in the loop, and the CAK phosphorylates the threonine residue, and the V1 phosphorylates the tyrosine residues. So after the completion of G2 phase, when it hits the transition phase, the CDC25 comes and removes the tyrosine 15 phosphate group. Okay, a phosphorylated tyrosine 15, it removes that phosphate group. So it get dephosphorylated and the CDK become active. Okay, so this is the process of CDK activation. Let's move into next point. About CDK inhibitors and controlled proteolytics. There are several inhibitors which are present in the cell cycle. Few are saying about yeast division. You can see a protein known as SIC1, which is an inhibitor of CDK. Likewise, P21 is the inhibitor of CDK in humans. Okay, so there are several proteins which behave as inhibitors of CDKs, which are required to inactivate or inhibit the CDK activity. Then what is proteolysis? So proper degradation of protein is required during the cell cycle. That means If concentration of cyclin increases during an unwanted situation, we have to degrade that cyclin. So for this process, 26S ubiquitin proteasome pathway get opened and that excess of cyclin is degraded. So cell regulate the concentration of cyclin and other cell cycle proteins by adjusting both the rate of synthesis and the rate of destruction of a molecule at different points in the cell cycle. Okay. When a protein is degraded, we can call that process as irreversible event. Hence, we call this way as a single direct. That means it is irreversible. Hence, we can call this process as single direct. Okay. And the degradation is done by the ubiquitin proteasome pathway. And this process require two protein complex which act as ubiquitin ligase, that is SCF and APC. So these two complex help in the ubiquitination of a protein. So these two protein can recognize those proteins which is to be degraded and link that protein to the proteasomal machinery. That is the function of SCF and APC. They can recognize the protein which is meant for degradation and can link this protein to the proteasomal machinery. That is the function of SCF and APC. So the SCF complex is seen in the late G1 to early mitosis where the degrade G1S cyclins and CDK inhibitors as well as other cell cycle proteins are degraded by the SCF complex. So SCF complex is seen during the late G1 to early mitosis. Okay. And they degrade G1S cyclins, CDK inhibitors as well as other cell cycle proteins. And what is the function of APC complex? APC complex acts in mitosis and degrade a number of mitotic proteins including mitotic cyclins, and the destruction of mitotic cyclins allow the cell to exit the mitosis and enter into a new cell cycle. So this is the process of SCF and APC. So actually they do is they found a protein which is meant for destruction and they tag ubiquitin protein to the protein. So when a protein is tagged with ubiquitin, the proteasomal machinery can understand this protein is meant for destruction and the proteasomal machinery will degrade this protein into small pieces. So this is the process of proteasomal machinery. So by CDK inhibitors and controlled proteolysis, the concentration of proteins are maintained in the cell cycles. Okay. Likewise, please also remember the fifth point, that is subcellular localization. In subcellular localization, we need to maintain some of the proteins inside the nucleus, likewise some in the cytoplasm. So some proteins and also some of the proteins are kept inside the organelles, so that for making them we need subcellular localization events. Okay. So this is one of the important diagram. Please look into this diagram. This is also from the molecular biology text by Karp. Okay. So during the G1 phase, you can see the cyclin D and CDK4 or CDK6 is combined to the cyclin D to complete the G1 phase. After the G1 phase or during the late G1 phase, you can see another cyclin known as cyclin E and along with CDK2. When you enter into S phase, the cyclin is changed into cyclin A along with the CDK2. Then you can see during the late G1 to M phase, cyclin B is seen with CDK1. So please study this like an easy way to study, that is cyclin A in S phase, cyclin B during late G2 to M phase, late G2 to M phase. Then there is no cyclin C and the other cyclin is cyclin D. It is seen in G1. So we have to study from S phase. From S phase it is cyclin A, late G2 to M, that is cyclin B, then there is no cyclin C. Then during G1 phase you can see cyclin D, and during the late G1 you can see another cyclin known as cyclin E, which is seen in the late G1 phase. Okay, next about studying the CDKs. So cyclin A always pair with the CDK2. So the first one is CDK2. Then cyclin B always bind with the CDK1. So we have already said that CDK1 is enough for completing the role of all other CDKs. So please keep in mind that the crucial role of division is during mitosis. So where you can see CDK1. And during the cyclin D G1 phase, you can see either CDK4 or CDK6. Okay. For easy understanding, please remember the D is fourth one, hence CDK4 or CDK6. During the late G1 phase, again you can see the CDK2. So after that you have to enter the S phase. So the same CDK which is present in the S phase is seen in the late G2 phase, that is CDK2. So this is all about the cyclin and CDKs which is present in each cell phases. So our cell possess checkpoint as a part of their cell cycle, and checkpoint ensures that each of the various events that make up the cell cycle occurs accurately and in proper order. So the checkpoints are activated throughout the cell cycle by a system of sensors that recognize DNA damage or cellular abnormalities. So if the DNA is damaged beyond repair, a checkpoint mechanism can transmit a signal that leads either to the death of the cell or its conversion to state of permanent cell cycle arrest known as senescence. Okay, so any DNA damage, it is not going to repair, then what happens? The checkpoint mechanism transmit a signal and lead that cell to apoptosis. Likewise, or the cell will remain in a deep rest phase, that is deep quiescent phase. So this point is also seen, you can see in the checkpoints where any damage occurring to the DNA. So there are two types of damage mainly occur in DNA, one by UV radiation and one by ionizing radiation. So when UV radiation is when UV radiation hits on the DNA, what happens? There is a damage that will occur inside the DNA. So a protein known as ssDNA protein complex will activate, and this will activate the ATR to the damaged location. So first of all, if a cell is prepared and enter into the division, but it is subjected to UV radiation, what happens? The ATR kinases, these are kinases, they will get activated and leads the cell to the arrest condition. They will arrest the cells in the G2 because the cell is going to be divided, so that we will not allow the cell to move into the mitotic phase. We will arrest the cell at G2 phase, and this ATR will activate by phosphorylating another enzyme or another kinase known as CHK1. By phosphorylating this kinase, it will get activated. This will in turn activate or phosphorylate. This is also a kinase enzyme, hence it will phosphorylate another protein, a phosphatase known as CDC25. So by phosphorylating the CDC25, it will bind to an adapter protein, hence it will not be available for the cell cycles. So when CDC25 is inside the or is bound with the adapter protein, the CDC25 is not available for activating the CDKs, hence no cell cycle progression will occur. Sorry. So what happens? The ATR will phosphorylate a kinase known as CHK1, and this phosphorylated CHK1 in turn phosphorylates CDC25. Phosphorylating CDC25 will bound with another adapter protein, and this CDC25 is now not available for activating the CDKs. Thereby cell cycle get arrested because CDK phosphorylated CDK cannot be active, because if the CDK is active, if we can only we can say if CDK is active when we remove the phosphate group from the tyrosine residue. But actually what happened, there is no CDC25 and the tyrosine phosphorylated tyrosine residue cannot be, the phosphate group from the tyrosine residue cannot be removed, hence CDK remain inactive in the cell cycle. Okay. Next step is, if DNA damage is occurring due to ionizing radiation, then another pathway will activate. So this is happening when if a person have any disorders and giving radiation therapy, ionizing radiations are given. So when ionizing radiations are given, in some cases some DNA get damaged. Okay. So a protein complex known as mRNA complex first comes and recognize this type of DNA damages due to ionizing radiations. mRNA complex reaches here and identify the damage. When this mRNA complex come into this area, along with that ATM also comes and binds to the area where the DNA damage is present. And this again, this is a kinase, this then activate a kinase known as CHK2. So this is a kinase, it will phosphorylate the protein and this CHK2 is phosphorylated and get activated. This active CHK2 in the sense activate another gene called as P53. When P53 get phosphorylated, it get activated and it will give signal, or this is a transcription factor, and it will goes and binds to the DNA for the synthesis of P21, which is an inhibitor of CDK. We already mentioned it in the previous slide. That is, P21 is an inhibitor of CDK. So P53 is a transcription factor. When phosphorylated, it gets activated and binds with the DNA. Hence, it is a transcription factor and helps in the synthesis of a protein known as P21. And this P21, when get activated, inhibit the CDK, so that again the CDK become inactive. Okay, this is one of the another pathway when the DNA damage is occurred. So during UV radiation or through the ionizing radiation, if DNA is damaged, this pathway will activated. And let's discuss some questions of previous year exams. So the question number 1, during cell cycle, entry in S phase is tightly regulated, and this is possible because, so we know that there are checkpoints that is present in the late G1 which will allow only those cells which have all the correct content to enter into the S phase. Hence we called it as tightly regulated. So let's read the options and find out the answer. The first option is APC-BARC promoters ubiquitination of S phase cyclin and mitotic cyclin, making them for the proteolysis at the mitotic exit. Cyclin B1 helps in the activation of S phase CDKs only in the late G1. As mitotic CDK activity declines in the late mitosis, CDC14 phosphatase activate APC-BARC by dephosphorylating CDH1, thus promoting the formation of APC-BARC-CDH1. And option D, serum keeps S phase cyclin in inactive state till the late G1. So in this question, it is asked that find the correct options, the options representing all correct statement. So please look into this small sentence. You can see that cyclin B1 helps in the activation of S phase. Is it true? Is it true? No, we have studied that S phase have cyclin A. So this statement went wrong. So first we are going for the elimination method. Remove all B from the options. Directly you got the answer. That is option 2 is the correct. So APC-BARC promote ubiquitination of S phase cyclins. True. We have already said that APC as well as SCF complex helps in the ubiquitinate proteasomal pathway, helps in degradation of proteins by ubiquitin proteasomal pathway. So this is true. Then about a C statement, as mitotic CDK activity declines in late mitosis, the CDC14 phosphatase activate APC. For what? For distracting the mitotic cyclins. Okay. So the correct answer is option 2. Let's move into the next question. So in eukaryotic cells, replication initiation from a replication origin occurs only once per cell cycle, and S phase CDKs plays a vital role in the regulation of DNA replication. In budding yeast, a protein complex known as the origin recognition complex ORC is associated with the DNA replication origin during G1. However, origins fire only once at the beginning of the S phase. DNA replication does not start in G1 because option A, MCM helicases are inactive. Option B, spindle checkpoint is active. Option C, DNA polymerase is not recruited in G1. And option D, ORC and initiation factors CDC CD6 and CD1 do not recruit MCM helicase to the site of replication initiation in G1. Which of the above statements are correct? So in eukaryotic cell, replication initiation from the replication occurs only once per cell cycle, and S-phase CDKs plays a vital role in regulation of DNA replication. So we know this point. So they are given that this experiment is conducted in the budding yeast, and the protein complex known as ORC is associated with the DNA replication. However, origins fire only once at the beginning of the S phase. DNA replication does not start in G1. Why? Why the DNA replication is not starting in the G1? So you have to answer the question. So one thing you have to find is, you can easily understand, is the DNA polymerase, the major enzyme, is not present in the G1 phase. It is present in the S phase. Some C is correct. So remove other two one. Okay. So option 2 and option 3 are there. Then MCM helicases are inactive in G1. And option B is spindle checkpoint is active in G1. So this option is wrong, because spindle checkpoint, by the name itself you can find that spindle assembly checkpoint, which is seen during the late state of mitosis, that is during the metaphase anaphase transition. You can see the spindle assembly checkpoint, where it looks for the proper attachment of spindle to all the kinetochores of the chromosomes. Only then it will allow the sister chromatid to separate. Okay, so spindle assembly checkpoint is active during M phase, not in the G1. So B statement is wrong. So by two methods you can eliminate option. If B statement is wrong, then you can remove this, you can remove this, you can also remove this. Then only remaining option is option 2. MCM helicases are inactive in G1, it's correct. Then C is also correct. What about D statement? ORC and initiation factors CDC6 and CDT1 do not recruit MCM helicase to the site of replication. Actually, MCM helicase is recruited, but it is not activated. Okay, actually recruitment is taking place, but replication initiation or its activation is not taking place. Okay, so it will be inactive in the G1 phase. MCM is recruited there, but in the inactive condition. So the statement D also get wrong. So the correct answer is option 2. So this is all about today's video. If you liked my video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and also share this video to your friends so that they also can understand more about cell cycle regulation. And if you need more videos regarding this, please comment in the comment box, and also click on the bell icon so that you will get notification when I